I think that's a huge deal, because that's what growth is.
Yeah.
Like there's only a couple of ways you could grow it, right? You could increase the revenues and increase the number of locations.
All these things that you didn't know you could do, their eyes light up. They are engaged, they're hooked, they are bought into you as well, just as much as you're bought into them, and you can help them more than you can help a traditional CEO who's led 10 brands.
I need people that are smart money, that bring money and resources that help me achieve my goal.
Knowing how to get the right deals with a third-party delivery platform, so instead of paying 30%, we'll have the locked-in 15% or 18% or whatever it is.
There's perfect alignment.
Right.
What better alignment than if you make money, we make money.
But if it's all the same style of concept, it's a lot easier.
Yeah.
And the doors open up.
This is all I've got. Here's how I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And again, founder to founder, when I see a good one, I'm like, I want to back that guy.
Founders have the concept, the idea, the vision.
I don't need somebody to tell me what to do. I need somebody to help me do it.
Right.
And that's what we're doing.
Exactly.
We want to actually help do it, not say, here's how to do it.
What value would you bring to that same table?
We all have our own challenges. Running a business is difficult. Today we're going to talk about something that we've thought about through the last few years, and we're trying to figure out whether it makes sense or not, but now I think we're at that inflection point. So I've built a whole technology system around restaurant space, from connectivity to commerce platforms, an all-in-one solution that allows a restaurant to just buy a restaurant technology in a box and deploy it. I'm here with Kendall. He's got a ton of experience in franchising side, knows the operation, has grown up in the industry from being, I think, a server
to dishwasher, all the way up.
A dishwasher. So we've got a dishwasher who's grown from a dishwasher to brand president, CEOs, etc. So we've been thinking, what is the best use of our time, energy, and resources? Does it make sense to go in and start acquiring brands and proven concepts, great operators, and fill in the gaps? So we want to have that conversation. Kendall, let's kind of openly talk through it. Let's share with everybody what we've been thinking about, and then see where it makes sense. And if there's anybody that's interested out there, they can get a hold of us.
Absolutely. So one, it's over the years, right? I've had the opportunity of interacting with brands at all the various life cycles, right? Growth mode, triage, stabilization, turnaround, massive downsizing, all the different stages that at some point brands will go through multiple times, right? But it's the lifelong journey of being in the restaurant and franchising business. With that, I found that usually in the emerging side of a franchise brand is where the most opportunity and value is. And you talk about being an expert in anything, when you're talking to that stage of a brand, that expertise is the most valuable because they're just not aware yet. Like a founder-led brand doesn't understand maybe the powers that your technology platform could have, right?
Sure.
Or how to handle automated marketing or whatever the topic is.
Yeah.
Or how to grow a franchise brand the right way and dot all the I's and cross all the T's. So what I know we've been talking about and I've always been thinking about it, which is how do you come in contact with emerging brands at the right time before they can make any drastic mistakes that will haunt them for years to come, because going backwards, right, retrofitting the solutions to brands that are hundreds to thousands of locations is so hard to do. And usually a lot of brands kind of give up behind the scenes on how to really retro it through all their locations and just focus on the next wave of openings.
Yeah.
And now you're operating two different models.
Agreed.
Right?
And I've always said, it's like, hey, don't show up to the party when you didn't show up to prepare for the party. So, I don't need you when I'm already grown, and I don't need you when I've already got, a few hundred franchisees, etc. So we've been thinking, like, our criteria was, does it make sense in a QSR environment? Sure. Does it make sense in fast casual? Does it make sense in casual brand? Does it make sense in fine dining? Let's kind of talk through that and what we're thinking. Revenue size, number of locations that are existing. Again, the founder-led brands that, like, we've talked to one that I'm super hyped about, the founder. He's so gritty.
And there's a handful of them. Right?
Yeah, and he's like, look, this is all I've got. Here's how I'm going to do it. And again, founder to founder, when I see a good one, I'm like, I want to back that guy. I don't care what he does. And whatever he does, I want to back him.
Right. You believe in the person.
You believe in a person.
And so, real quick on the founder-led conversation, that's a specific point because not only for what you described, But again, that's where the most value could be provided. Don't hire me to come and tell you something you already know. That defeats the purpose for both of us.
Of course.
But when you open their eyes to the supply chain conversation, the friend dev conversation, proprietary products and rebates and all these things that you didn't know you could do, their eyes light up. They are engaged, they're hooked, they are bought into you as well, just as much as you're bought into them. And you can help them more than you can help a traditional CEO who's led 10 brands. Right? Like they got the stuff figured out and they're at a much larger scale. But at this stage, how do you give them the upper hand, allow a founder who has a franchise brand to punch above their weight and get access to all the technology they need, all the expertise they need, and all the strategy that should be behind that without having to go pay insane top dollar for each one of those verticals independently? And so that's kind of the thought, right? It's like, all right, well, where can you provide the most value when it comes to that conversation? It's probably going to be the fast casual sector of the business. Now, I think we would be opportunistic for any style brand, but to start, I would hone in on that because that's where the ease of operations typically exist. It's usually more scalable and lower risk and or investment. And if you really did it right, so let's say one day you and I had 10 brands in a portfolio and they were all fast casual. Well, we built a strong bench of talent who knows how to operate fast casual, so they can plug and play, and they'll probably want to be franchisees of the other concepts we have. So instead of being a bigger portfolio where there's so many different variations, you're trying to always train and maybe move people here or there, it's a lot harder to do that. But if it's all the same style of concept, it's a lot easier. Yeah. And the doors open up more opportunities, right?
Yeah. And let me be clear, like we don't want to be telling people what to do. We want to actually do it. We want to execute. We want to be the individual contributors where I bring my entire team and I'm like, hey, I've got a 100 person team that does software development, that does connectivity services, that does all the IT services, and I want to put them to work.
Right.
I don't want to tell you, hey, here's what you should do, and then it's like, well, I already knew that.
Right.
My problem, like I'm always faced with that challenge, and I tell everybody, and I get away, and I run as fast as I can the other direction when somebody's like, here's what you should do. I'm like, great, I don't need to talk to you because conversation over. I don't need somebody to tell me what to do. I need somebody to help me do it. Right. And that's what we're doing.
Exactly.
We want to actually help do it, not say, here's how to do it.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's taking all the things that you and I and others do daily, whether it's consulting or working our own brand.
We're doing this every day.
But it's funny because, like, I'm never going to go to a founder and try to coach them or teach them how to run restaurant operations if they're a restaurant founder. They know how to run a restaurant, most likely, right? The high likelihood of that.
Of course.
So if they founded a restaurant, they get the restaurant industry, the space. But where most founders don't understand or have the expertise is on the franchising portion of that business. They get how to run it, how to operate, how to deliver high quality, how to create that guest experience and high quality service. All those things exist. But how do they go and franchise the right way? Some of them are successful because they pay top dollar attorneys, make a ton of mistakes.
They may have a ton of money to do that. Yeah.
And they do it, and then they regret it later, but they don't learn much in that process.
So actually, before we get into that, let's talk about that. So Kendall, what value do you add to a restaurant? Well, let's define it. So we talked about fast casual, QSR. Is that something that we're interested in? I think QSR also makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
Depends
Fine dining?
Right. No, I would stay away from fine dining.
Agreed. Yeah, fine dining is just
too much risk, harder to scale. There's very few successful franchise-related fine dining concepts.
Agreed.
It's saturated. It's special occasion, less frequency. Not interested.
Yeah, no, we're not interested. Yeah. Perfect. So we're interested in the QSR and the fast casual side. Maybe also casual side. I think
Depends.
It makes
a lot
sense.
of labor, a lot of headcount, a lot of space, equipment.
Let's talk through that. If you're a fat casual brand, then we'll talk and we'll figure out if it makes sense or not. Right. Okay, so now we know the brands. How many locations do they need to have before we can add any value? Obviously, we can't add value to a mom and pop one-unit brand. So I think we've talked through this.
Yeah, it depends, right? Is it a minimum? It depends upon the volumes in the current landscape, but is it 10 units or more? Is it 15 or more? I think it also depends upon how many franchise agreements are already signed. Mm-hmm. So sometimes it's a matter of, you may only have 3 units, but you're opening how many this year? You have 25 openings scheduled?
Okay, perfect.
We need to jump in now because we got to get in before we make all the mistakes with those franchisees.
Of course, because by the time, your problem, like I've seen brands at 200 units change POS.
Correct.
And that's at 200 times the expense if you would have done it day one and started on the right foot.
And so it's got to be something that has been technically proven out. They have some sort of track record, right? 10, 15, 20 plus units. and a decent AUV that we can work with. Because we
What's
know
a
we're going to
decent
scale it.
AUV?
800 or higher.
Okay, yeah, minimum $800,000.
Not to say others won't work,
Yeah.
right? But let's just aim for 800 or higher,
Yep.
knowing that we're close to that, common goal of $1 million. We can work with that because if you add in the tech, the franchising, the overall marketing strategy, and all the different approaches and leadership we'll have, we can raise that AUV, right? Or just save costs on that AUV through supply chain negotiations to where there's more to the bottom line. Regardless, there's value there.
We're confident that we could take an 800,000 unit brand, turn it into $1 million, million, two, three in top line revenue. We understand the numbers. We know the numbers. We run our successful firms, etc. So 800,000 minimum, hovering around maybe 5 plus, maybe on the higher end, like 10 units, 15 units, has some sort of a potential upside, either signed franchise agreements or interest, etc.
Right.
So now that we've defined the standards, the floor, what value do you add to these guys?
Yeah. So on the franchising side, right, all these individual brands, they are paying a lot of money to maintain being a franchise and or launching their franchise. That's FTD work, franchise agreements, that's the marketing side, that's the boost, the shows, all the support efforts, right? And then a lot of them too are investing in or trying to figure out how to invest in the teams to support franchisees and what the structure is going to be, what the value is going to be, the service, all the things that go into this. And so one, we could take that and streamline it across all the brands that we work with to where it's just, one, it's more affordable, right? But two, it is streamlined.
So we're going to save them money on the franchise side. We're going to help them with the expertise that they need in order to do it right from day one.
Right.
What else?
Right. Well, one, on the cost side, real quick, like FTDs for an example. So you might be a brand to go launch, you're going to spend 30 to 50 grand to go do that, just to start. Right. It wouldn't cost us that much. It may cost $3,000 or maybe $5,000 because a franchise attorney has to spend some time updating specific language. But we already have it all. We know what to look for. We know what to add. And in a lot of cases, that 30 to 50 grand is also matched with a 30 to 50 grand consultant and or ops manual writer or somebody who's trying to help you build your FED with an attorney. So now you're 100 grand in. Right. It's not necessary.
We could do it with less than 10.
So value there. Stay on top of the market, knowing where we should be structuring our business from a fee standpoint and marketing and placement in the eyes of the franchise prospects.
Of course.
But then on the ops side too, how do we leverage whatever brands we're working with on the supply chain side, get us to one distributor where we are negotiating on behalf of all of the companies, and if there is similarities, there's bound to be something that we can serve in all the concepts. Not to say to change your core or to change what makes you you, but napkins, straws, whatever that is, there's ways to negotiate it. Even if the logo has to be different on the cups, you can still negotiate overall cup pricing on behalf of all. And this is not new news, right? Shared services and multi-brand platforms exist. But find me one that's truly targeted in a category where they're specifically honing in on the franchise growth side and expertise mixed with the technology-driven marketing aspect, where these are services that a brand that we've described of 5, 10, 15, 20, even probably 30 units typically can't afford or doesn't even know they need it.
Got you.
Right?
Okay, what else? So supply chain is obviously a big deal too. Yeah,
that's a big one.
And we're buying powers and things like that. Yeah, because chicken is chicken, right? So you're gonna have to buy chicken. You're gonna have to buy meat. You're gonna have to buy vegetables.
Right.
I think almost all concepts will. Again, all the ingredients are essentially core the same. So that's a big deal. What else?
It's a big deal, and we know how and where to appropriately add more revenue streams for these concepts.
Okay.
Right. Most don't come to the table with a proprietary revenue stream, meaning a rebate program. They might get a common rebate offer from a Coke or Pepsi because that's common. That comes out of the box.
Sure.
And that goes into your marketing budget typically. But in terms of your products that you're selling, creating those other revenue streams, knowing how to get the right deals with a third-party delivery platform. So instead of paying 30%, we'll have the locked-in 15% or 18% or whatever it is. Right? There's so many ways to do that. But again, it's not, you don't know what you don't know. So we come in out of the box and can have them plug into all these other call them sales channels that they don't have today.
Sure.
And knowing how to make it right to still have profitable franchisees. That's
Makes
the big
sense.
kicker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else on that side, on the franchising side?
I think too, just knowing how to support but communicate with franchisees. Because again, you're a founder, you're leading a brand, you know how to talk to your people, you probably tell them what to do very often. And again, now you got to lead with influence versus being directive. And it's a different conversation. We can take all that on and help people get through that and not make the common mistakes of miscommunication, false promises, and of course, lawsuits down the road.
Got it.
Yeah.
okay, so tell me, so I got it, saving, shared services, being able to support them, giving them all the resources, make sure they don't make mistakes, FTDs, all that.
Right.
Anything on the franchise side?
We know and have supported many of the franchisees, aka the buyers that are out there, right? We have those contacts. We know who to go to.
Of course, you worked with them before.
For my whole life.
Yeah, of course, yeah. You know that they're, you know the
Yeah.
Mumbos, you know the,
Yeah.
like the multi-unit, multi-brand operators, like you've got all that connection, so of course.
And in some cases, franchisees have traveled with me to the next brand, right? Who I may have worked with 10 years prior, but now they really love the concept I'm at, so they become franchisees there too. So we have the relationships, but we also know who to look for and who to stay away from. We know the private equity backed groups that we really want and that we really don't want to be engaged with. So having that expertise and insight help as well.
I think that's a huge deal, because that's what growth is.
Yeah.
Like there's only a couple of ways you could grow it, right? You could increase the revenues.
Right.
And increase the number of locations.
Right.
And I think that is where we see a massive upside in the restaurant space.
Well, and the executive leadership. So founders are creative. Founders have the concept, the idea, the vision. Sometimes, and most of them will tell you, we're not the best executors. We're not the best at knowing how to lead a franchise organization. And so we have that expertise to where we can bring it. And not only does that help the brand and the franchisees and support team members, it helps that founder, right, evolve as well, so they know how to exercise that muscle if they need to.
Of course, yeah, yin and yang,
Yeah.
And again, we don't want to be operators, right? We want to
work through you.
Exactly, we want to work through you. We want to back those amazing operators, the ones that are missing, again, the pieces that we bring to the table, and have a perfect match that allows both of us to grow and make revenue and make more revenue and compete with. Again, some of these, like the Travis concept where, that is coming. You're going to have a 60-foot, 70-foot machine that's automating it and it's making the food, it's using Uber to deliver it, and that concept is going to compete with you.
Right.
We want to be on the other side and compete with those guys and enable those brands that we own also, because there's perfect alignment.
Right.
What better alignment than if you make money, we make money. Right.
And that's the whole purpose
Win-win
of
situation.
franchising. Yeah.
Of course. Yeah.
And it limits your overall risk too, because let's say you do franchise one of the fast casual concepts in a certain spot. Maybe it didn't pan out, right? It's tough, the box is tight, but we have 4, 5, 6 other concepts that are similar, and you believe in us, and you want that site's right for a different product or different
concept of ours.
And so boom, we swap, we're good. It's just, you protect yourself more, and you're working with people who truly understand that we're here to serve and support franchisees. Plain and simple, that's what we do, no questions asked. So it's about them. And again, some people may not see this as valuable now, but the little things too. Knowing that the same show that does franchise booths and advertisements, the same show is going to tell a first-timer that the booth costs 15 grand. If I call, it's 3,500.
Yeah.
Right. It's just it's a different dialogue. It's the way that it works, and so you got to know the right people to get behind the right doors. But I'm curious to hear from your side, Hamed, especially on the tech side, the marketing side. What value would you bring to that same table?
Yeah, great question. So I've been in the restaurant space, never as an operator. I mean, we met at Genghis back in the day, and I remember those meetings from 7 p.m. till 1, 2 o'clock in the morning
I try to
on a
forget them.
C-level. Yeah, well, so that's where my stuff started. So the value that I directly bring to the table is going to be one on the technology side.
Right.
I've built an entire company, so on day one of acquiring a brand, I'm going to enable them with 100 team members that are connectivity experts. Mm-hmm. We can guarantee that internet will never ever go down in the store.
Right.
We could put that foundational level in the restaurant, in our own, and then have immediate return on that side.
Right.
Because you don't have to deal with internet outages, phone outages, network outages, Wi-Fi outages. You don't have to deal with the garbage of, hey, I have this problem. You have a team now that is focused on that.
And that's normally very stressful for a restaurant operator or founder to figure out all these details.
We have thousands of restaurants that use us for that specific purpose, and even outside of the restaurant space. So the first value I add is I take that headache away, I plug it in, and now you have a team that is a connectivity team. The second value that I can add is entire Milagro ecosystem that we built.
Right.
So let's talk through that and why. Why did I build that technology tool? Because everybody in the restaurant space, their restaurateurs, their top 3 challenges is revenue, I'm not making enough money, thin margins, right?
Right.
Labor cost and food cost.
Yeah.
So I started digging in and trying to figure out why. Why do restaurants, the profit margins are there.
Right.
You're getting a bottle of water, you're buying it for $1, you're selling it for $3. Like I can't do that in my company. I can't sell it for 3, 4, 5 times the money. So the margins are there. Why isn't the net profit there?
Right.
And through that journey, I discovered that 70% of the guests that go in, they don't go back.
Right.
So if they don't go back, then that means the revenues are going to be where they are today.
Right.
So I've built that entire tech system to solve that one problem.
Right.
Revenue through automated customer retention. So a customer goes into the restaurant, we immediately engage with them, they leave, they get a feedback form. We use that to increase 5-star reviews because we're pre-filtering that.
Yep.
We use that to drive retention. Obviously, that means more revenue.
Right.
So that technology platform is it's the absolute biggest advantage that I bring to the table because it allows you to maximize retention, increase revenue through all these different means that you don't have to think about it.
Right.
It's done and we own the platform. So because we own the platform, when things happen, we change, we adapt,
inclusive.
we add in.
It's true level of support.
1,000%.
In your organization, right? You don't have to call another provider, another person. It's all right here. Right?
We're all the same team.
Yeah.
We're all in it for the same reason. It just makes sense. Again, and I think owning that platform is a big deal, but we're seeing these all-in-one solutions. Like you can't go buy a POS, buy this, buy that, and then try to put them together and imagine the amount of manpower that you have to invest to just manage it, right? And we want to take that headache away from the manager.
Right.
The manager needs to focus on running the restaurant.
Sure.
And then everything else needs to be on, that's my problem, not you as an operator.
And this topic
you need to rely on us.
Right. And this topic is so hard because, again, this all would cost a lot of money for me if I had 5, 10, 15 units to go and invest in. And I'm not going to be able to, the value's probably there, probably guaranteed there, but I can't see it because I don't feel like I can afford it.
Actually, forget about that. Just take a look at this chart over here with all the technology providers that are in this space. I mean, that gives me headache. I mean, there's hundreds and hundreds, and everybody's screaming the same thing. We help, we make you money, we do this, we do that. It's like, but you have to do the work.
Right.
We can't let them do the work. We want to do the hard work and let the automations do the work. And again, you're going to have to start competing with these. And for the smaller brand, the big brands are going to have the budget. They're going to have to figure. They have the money. They have the manpower. They're relying on third-party software companies to build it and innovate fast enough that they don't fall behind the curve. But that's where their disadvantage is. They're relying on somebody else. We're not relying on somebody else. We're relying on us, on our own tools to change, adapt, and go there. And I think back to the conversation you said with our franchisees, we also have a ton of franchisees in our network.
They're your clients.
They're our
you serve them today,
We serve them today, and they own multiple units, and they own multiple brands, and they're professional organizations, right? And they're there to make money. And if you put the right brand in front of them, it's a done deal. The financials have to make sense. And that's, I believe, where we come in, right? So the value that we collectively add is, hey, the numbers make sense, the financials make sense, here's how you could get into this brand, and it's going to be a game changer because now you've added resources that otherwise you wouldn't have been able to afford to put in, and it's the same team.
Right. And you look at, like, let's use the multi-brand franchisees for a second as the example. Imagine being in that environment where you have multiple concepts, but they're all the same back-end systems. Same e-learning, same POS, same all that. And no one's really mastered that just yet. And there's still larger portfolio companies that still have separate tech or some sort of difference between the brands. But when it's that way from day one, not only do you have that value, you also have something that is going to always be evolving and updating amongst all of its portfolio. So there's always a next thing that's integrated or worked on or fixed, or whatever the feedback is, it's probably applicable to all the other brands as well.
1,000%.
So it's just, you have all in one from a literal standpoint of all the different aspects of the business. And then you're getting what I would call like the CMO level marketing strategy and support, right? For not the same price, right? You're not having to go hire that $250,000, $300,000 a year executive to come and run this. It's built into our partnership, right? And so there's less stress, financial stress on the brand in terms of expenses and investment in people, tech, platform services, all the things you'd have to normally do.
Yeah, because you eliminate the CTO. You don't need a CTO.
Right. COO, we're here to fill that.
Yeah, potential. Well, COO, yeah, maybe, etc. But the director of franchising or the franchising director or the franchising person is now kind of gone, right? Because that's the leadership you bring in.
Yeah.
The marketing side is gone.
Right.
You know, you just need executors. You don't need, expensive multi-six-figure person to lead that. We've got that figured out.
Right.
So a lot of value add on that side. And then I'm thinking through like the brand side and allowing, like me as a founder myself, I'd love to be surrounded like by other smart people that are in my space that are helping me when I have a hard time. I can go and ask the question, right? I think that is an invaluable resource where you can just make a phone call and say, hey, I'm like, I do this with Mo. I call him up. I'm like, Mo, like, bad day today. I'm stuck.
Yeah.
Unstuck me.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And he's always there. He's always answering. Like, again, those type of resources, I think, for founders, and it's a tough game. By the way, it doesn't matter what type of business you're in. You're a restaurant, you have a ton of challenges. I'm a tech company and I have my own set of challenges.
Right.
You know, it doesn't mean my business is better than yours or vice versa. It just, we all have our own challenges. Running a business is difficult. And I heard this thing that's like, hey, entrepreneurs are like one of the not smartest people on the planet. And it makes sense. Why? Because they're taking huge freaking risk into unknown, right? They work 80 hours a week just to kind of do the, like they could go do 10,000 other things that would have a higher ROI, but they just go all in this because they believe in it, and they're just not wired the right way. Are they smarter? Probably not. I would say that I wasn't smarter. You just kind of get pushed into this environment and you change, you adapt, and that grit that keeps you going, you just don't want to give up. Like you're, and having access to other people like that, I think would be another huge advantage. Like I highly rely on that, and I surround myself with the right people. And actually that brings me to another thing. Like we also have other resources for investments, right?
Access to more capital and
absolutely money, not just, park money into the brands, bring that financial resource, and then when we crush it and we make a ton of freaking money together, now we have investment funds that we could park that money in and make more money by just simply investing our capital in a group and giving that access to employees. Like I'm thinking we do that for our people. We have, instead of putting it in a 401k, we put it in a fund, and that fund has crushed it. We parked more money in 3 months ago, and it's already up 20%. And that's 100% for the employees. So these are things that you could do that's unheard of in a restaurant space.
Sure.
But we're a tech company.
We
We have access. We know the right people, so we could do that. So if you can, because again, at the end of the day, the franchisee wants to make money. Their employees don't want to work 2 jobs. They want to work 1 job and they want to make money to pay their living wages. You as a franchisor, founder, you want to make money. We want to make money. How do we make all of that happen? It's actually fairly straightforward. More locations, more revenue. Knowing the right people to invest and bring the money and help invest the money, any excess cash, to have it earn interest.
And I think the other thing to look at too is you walk into something that already knows all the levers to pull and has the capabilities to pull them. So the founders may be different. One founder may say, hey, I really want to grow this thing, obviously the right way, but fast. And here's my target, here's my goals. We can work up or down from whatever that is. So all the strategy, the support, the back end is all going to be consistent and the same. But what those exact goals and targets are can vary per the brand. Some brands might come to us for everything we described, but also need outside growth capital to get more units built and done the right way. Okay, great. So that works in conjunction with what we have. But everything else you don't have to worry about the expense or the rate changes or whatever it is. It's all there, and you can focus on what really matters in that business. So all in all, I can only see it being valuable. Right.
And again, I think our network is another thing that we've, again, sometimes we underestimate it because we're surrounded with all of them. And you're like, oh yeah, I know Kendall. And it's like, this guy is trying to get a hold of Kendall, and he's been trying for months and months. It's like, dude, he's just a text or a phone call away, right? So I think we rely on our network, people that we know, to pull levers.
Right.
Like I've made phone calls where I'm like, hey, how do you do this? And I think that was supposed to take me months to figure out. It's solved in a 30-minute conversation, explaining, hey, here's how you do it. Don't make this mistakes, do that. And I've done that with my clients. I've done that with my friends. I've done that with like different people that I'm surrounded by in my network.
Right.
That has saved me a ton of headache and resources. So I think another thinking through that, our network is another huge advantage that we could bring to the table.
Right. Right. So there's really no downside in doing it, right? Because if you're going to sell or you're going to go take in some investment or you're going to go hire leadership teams, you have to go through so many variations. And what really sucks for founders, and I hate watching this happen, and I've seen some brands that I really, really care about who have the best founders in the world, where their brands get deteriorated or harmed, not directly, it's always indirect and over a course of time, because they didn't know what was right or wrong and allowed new leaders to come in and do what I would say the less experienced leaders do, which is, I got to come in and change everything because I'm the new guy. They walk in and every vendor relationship changes, every strategy changes. That was the old leader's idea. It's a horrible idea. That's why I'm here. Like, it's an ego thing. They come in, change everything, right? But what the founder doesn't realize, in the process, they're going to feel good. Like, oh yeah, that's exciting. That's a great idea. Oh, that's way better. That's more affordable. Oh, you generated more revenue. That's all good things. Not realizing what it's doing to the culture, to the people, and to the long hood success of that brand. And I hate seeing founders go through that, where they'll come to you a couple years later. Man, I've gone through 3 CEOs. They keep firing all my best people. My favorite person of 20 years who's by my side, she got terminated. I couldn't do anything about it. Like, they have the same story, and yet their brand is in the exact same spot that it was before they went and hired those same CEOs.
Yeah.
And so we can bypass all that, all the learning curves and challenges.
That sucks because as a founder, like, you build this is your baby.
Right.
And then
it hurts.
all of a sudden it really hurts. Yeah.
Yeah.
But also, like, you're going to have to do that at some point, because if you want to grow, you can't do it all by yourself. But so I think
it's less of a risk, but less of a gamble, and you know what you're going to get.
Yeah.
And it's tried and true, and we all have a long-term interest, right? Versus what the way it typically goes when you're hiring on new people, right?
And actually, a lot of people had asked me, we hadn't raised any money so far, none, zero, like no debt, nothing on our books for us in terms of investments, debt, etc. And a lot of people have said, why not raise money? It's like, raise money and do what with it?
Right.
It just doesn't make sense. We don't need the money. And I don't need, quote unquote, dumb money. I always refer to it as, I need smart money.
Right.
I'm not raising money, but I will raise money if the right individual comes in that has the resources, that can actually execute, and not just write me a check and say, here's 10 million bucks, give me 50 million bucks and 50 million bucks back in 5 years.
Right.
It's like, all right, great. I'll do that for myself. I'll put my own 10 million in, right?
Sure.
But if you come in and you're like, hey, here's 10 million, and then here are the people that I'm going to bring to the table, and here's how they're going to help you. They're going to scale the business. They're going to bring more customers. They're going to bring more revenue.
Right.
This guy's going to fix your franchising thing. This guy's going to fix your IT stuff. That guy's going to fix your marketing stuff, To me, that's smart money.
Right.
And I think of us like that, is we are doing what I wish people had done for me when I wasn't there.
Side. Yep. Yeah. Same conversation.
It's like, hey, I don't need dumb money. I need people that are smart money, that bring money and resources that help me achieve my goal.
Right.
Again, don't tell me how to do it. Do it for me, or do it in conjunction with me.
Right.
Hold me accountable. Get me to the end goal.
Right.
Hold my hand, and that's what we want to do. Because that's what I wish I had when I was smaller. Like, it was a brutal freaking game to be where I am today. Right. It was brutally difficult. I had to make a ton of sacrifices, all around.
Right.
And yes, lost money, recovered it, made money, etc. But it's a brutal journey, and I think having smart money that comes with the right expertise that helps save that, I think that's where our advantage is. We've made those mistakes. We can be a sounding board. We can get as involved as needed or as little as needed in order to ensure that our mutual goal is met.
Right.
How do we compete with these tech companies that are coming in like the Tesla restaurant stuff. Again, who knows what's going to happen to that? But the Travis Kalanick on Uber side, like I feel like that's a bigger threat. He's built a multi-billion-dollar company.
Right.
He's got this sorted out, and I believe the idea and the vision is going to be there.
Sure.
So we want to park our money, our staff, our resources, manpower, money, tech, to be able to compete with some of these guys and stay ahead of the curve. And ultimately, we want to make money.
Right.
I
That's
love doing this.
Bottom line for everybody.
Yeah, I want to make money, just like you, just like the franchisee guy that we have, just like the employee that works at a thing. Like, we're all aligned. We all want to make money.
Right.
But if we can do it with people we love doing it with, if we can surround ourselves with more amazing founders, more power to everybody.
Yeah, that's the goal.
Anything else that you think of, like any other?
No, I think it's, if you are that founder-led brand and you really want to scale your concept the right way, and taking on minority or even majority investment with PE firms makes you nervous, and you just want to stay in the same position you're in terms of your role, but you want the brand to scale beyond what you could ever imagine, this is the group you'd want to do it with, right? This is the setup you'd want to do it with, because you will have everything you need, including the expertise to help achieve whatever that goal is. And I wouldn't look at us as the ones who say, all right, now that we've acquired you, here's our goals. It's more so, hey, founder, it's a part of the acquisition. What are your goals for this brand?
1,000%.
If we get behind that, that's why we're investing in you.
Yep.
And again, now you're in this portfolio of support brands that can help achieve that. And whether they want to do long-term holds or their goal is to walk away in a certain amount of years, whatever that is, we mold the individual brand plans for that, but our overall strategy and support is the exact same.
I agree, yeah. It's how do we fit into your business plan, not how do you fit into ours.
Yes, that's the difference. If you plug into private equity, which I love, support, I've technically worked for private equity my entire career, there's nothing wrong with it per se. It's just, this is a different way to look at it. And I hear from founders how stressful and scary that is. So is this a less scary and less stressful option?
Sure.
Maybe
well,
it is.
PE money is after one thing: 5 to 7 years exit,
Flip,
maximum
go.
value.
Yeah.
I don't care what you want as a founder.
Right.
I need the answer to my investors. They have to, right? They raised a ton of money. They have to. Yeah. They have to drive revenue. They have to drive ROI.
Yeah.
But for us, that's not necessarily the case. We could hold the brand for the next 30, 40, 50 years, and we wouldn't mind.
Sure.
Or if you're a founder, you want to sell, maybe we'll buy you out, or maybe we'll sell our shares and then get out of that and then go to the next thing. But again, founder-led, we don't want to get in the way of how they're doing business. We just want to support them, amplify them, give them a bigger lever where they have more leverage by not having to focus on the things that we've done, that we've figured out.
Right.
And then allow them to scale faster, grow faster, make more money.
Yeah, we're here for it.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you, guys. So if you're that kind of a brand in that QSR, fast casual stuff, and if you've already built a successful restaurant, and if you're looking to fill the gaps, plug us in into like the areas that you believe that we've talked through that we can add value, please get a hold of us, go to our website, find us on LinkedIn somewhere, and then get a hold of us. Let's have that conversation and see if this aligns. And if it does, great. We're excited to work with you, and we look forward to having that conversation.